In this video, I'm going to show you how to properly mix your melodies and your drums. It is apparent that a lot of newcomers struggle with this. Even I struggle with this in the very beginning of me making tracks. So I want to share this knowledge because this particular knowledge would make and break if somebody wants to listen to your music, either it be an artist or just a music listener. And I think these tips will really help you out. I'm not going to go over mastering. Those are two separate things. Mixing and mastering are totally different things. So therefore, I want to keep it as simple as possible. And if you do use other DAWs, you will still learn something from this video. And I will do other DAWs as well, even though the science does not change. So let's go ahead and get into it. And thank you for your time. Leave a comment below.
Traptendo.
If you have any questions, please leave a comment below and I will try to answer them as much as possible. But right now, I'm going to show you how to get all of your channels into the mixer in one step. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this parameter right here. It's going to highlight all of the channels here. I'm going to press F9 and then I'm going to click on the desired first channel. So this desired first channel is insert one, and we're going to right click on that mixer channel and we're going to go to channel routing and we're going to route to selected channel starting from the track. You can do Shift Control L as well, but I find this to be very, very more efficient. way more efficient. And once I click on that, you'll see that it has inserted all those channels in its proper order. So if I was to go back out here, you'll see that MIDI cue was the first thing, and I am using that track, by the way, from another video. And let's hear how it sounds like. We're going to pull up the mixer again. Let's go ahead and get to the meat of the track here, because that's going to be the most important. You want all of your harmonics going at once, or all of the sounds going at once, so you can get a proper mix. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's play it now. As you can hear, it is a hot mess. But the one thing that I do want to point out here is Alt and the cursor. So left, right, up, down. So in FL Studio 20, you are able to reorder things. So I'm going to ask you guys to make sure when you do a proper mix is to order things properly. So you want your drums to be first. This is something I learned from working with all kinds of engineers, is that their pet peeve is not having the drums first, because they want to work on those drums to get them nice and crisp and clean, just in case. I know I'm showing you proper etiquette here, but I just want to show you that. So we have a hot mess of a mix here, and what we're going to do, and I know a lot of you guys always talk about how your mix does not sound good because your drums don't hit hard or something like that. Well, guess what? That has a lot to do with your melody, and this is the main thing that a lot of people struggle with. So we're gonna press play and listen to the track. You'll see that first melody right here is way out there, and just pay attention because we're gonna mix a lot. But I'm going to turn down that arpeggio right here, and all the sounds will be in the description box just in case you want the sounds. Already it's made a huge difference. And the reason why that is you're giving yourself headroom. Just think of like if you was in a house, you was just moving in and you had stuff laying everywhere, but your house has a certain amount of square feet. You can get more out your square feet if you organize the furniture. So this is basically that same aspect, but with using sounds. So with removing certain aspects of those sounds that are too loud, you can have more headroom. So this is basically gain staging is what I'm getting to. Unopposed to that, if I was to reset this, listen to it. That's how a lot of you guys mixes sound like y'all really want some sound to stick out, and you don't need it to stick out like that. You just need it to be balanced. And when you have it balanced and you turn it down, other elements of your mix happens. Like you can hear the other elements of your mix. What I am going to do here though is I'm going to make sure that I have all the other sounds louder. so that way I'll have more room to play with them, because some of the sounds are lower than others. And remember, I want to balance those melodies that are in this area right here. So what I'm going to do is simply turn them down. Just going to turn them down. You can press Control and a left click or click, and it will solo everything, so you don't hear anything else. So what I'm gonna do in this next aspect here, and I know there is a lot of hot takes when it comes to sidechaining, and I do have a separate sidechaining video, but what I'm going to do to add more room to this mix is sidechain this kick into this 808. The 808 is right here, as you can see. OG Spinz 808. Oh man. But what we're going to do is I'm going to grab the Fruity limiter, because the Fruity limiter is a good tool and it's easy to sidechain because it is a native plugin with inside of FL Studio. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and just set up the compression here. I'm going to set it to compressor. I can't set the sidechain yet because there's no sidechain. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to select the kick. The kick is this track. I'm going to go ahead and solo and play it. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to unsolo. And now, since I have it highlighted, it's important that you highlight. And I'm going to right click and then select sidechain to this track. Boom. Now that it's sidechained to this track, now I have access to the limiter here. And this is only if you want sidechaining. You could do whatever you want. You can sidechain whatever you want, but I just want to sidechain the kick into the 808 to add more space. And for those who are worried about, if you give it to another engineer, all you have to do is hit this right here, this button right here, and that will take away that sidechain. So now that we have that, I just selected this area right here, set up the sidechain. I'm going to mess with the threshold. I'm going to mess with the knee. I'm going to mess with the ratio. And then we're going to play it. Just that simple. I already have got a nice clean mix. Now, the next thing that is apparent, even though the 808 itself is being sidechained, the 808 needs to be turned down. It doesn't necessarily need to hit that hard. So what I'm going to do is just play it. Now we have a nice clean mix. Now, one thing I do want to point out here is that I do have the Fruity limiter in here. I usually use when I make my beats, I try to do the basic with limiter, and just to keep an eye out for some nasty clipping that could happen. But you can turn it off, and if you're not clipping, you're fine. Now, there's other things that you can do. What you can do is press Control, and then you can left click and drag to select all of the stuff that you work with. The next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually pull down the melody some more to get more room for, like, perhaps the artist that's going to work on this track, which wants to work on this track. All you have to do is this right here. You can just click or double click on anything, and it will get rid of all of those tracks that you just highlighted. And I'm going to just turn down this ARP a little bit. Now Now my kick is clipping, but you know, preferably I like that. But you can just turn down the kick as well. I mean, if you're one of those guys that are going to trip about that. But, you know, again, your kick clipping isn't really a big deal. I know a lot of engineers out there will trip about that, but 9 times out of 10, every record has that issue. But it's not going to be sonically terrible on all systems or whatnot. But what would be is if your clap is too loud. If your clap or your snare. So do be mindful of that. But that's basically about it. And that's just a simple way of mixing your melodies and your drums so that you have enough headroom for like an artist to rap on it, and then you can have some nice 2-track mixes and stuff like that. Though I don't recommend it, it is something that happens a lot, especially in hip hop. So tell me how you feel about this. Again, leave a comment below. Let me know how you feel about these tips and if they helped you out, because I definitely want to hear from the community. I need that feedback. And if you do get to this point of the video and you haven't clicked off of it, let me know if you want me to mix your tracks, and I will do it on my channel. So therefore that you get a firmer understanding of how you should mix your tracks.